This video is going to cover how to evaluate values from a given line segment. So this line segment is labeled f of x, and we're going to evaluate the following numbers based on our graph of f of x. So basically what's happening here is that your x is in the parentheses. So when it says f of 0, it is asking, well, what does the function say if x is 0? All it's saying is what's the y value when x is 0. So if we have an ordered pair, it's 0 comma what. So let's look at when x is 0. So x is 0 is right here. It looks like my graph is right here when x is 0, right? So because x is equals 0 is up and down all along that line, and right up here is where my graph is. Now the ordered pair right here is 0 comma 5. So when f of 0, my graph says it is just equal to 5. That's it. It's as simple as that. You just look at your graph. If your x is 0, what's your y? That's how to evaluate your function. So let's look at f of 3. So this would be 3 for x, and my graph is right here. So I'm going to look at the ordered pair right here. It is 3 comma 7. So when it asks what f of 3 is, I'm going to say it's 7. Now when I say f of negative 6, f of negative 6 would be right here. Now let's look carefully at this point. Up until this point, we've had a solid line and a solid circle. F of negative 6 is an open circle. When there's an open circle, the line actually doesn't exist there. What we're saying is we can go all the way up to like negative 5.999999999 forever and ever, but we don't ever actually reach negative 6 with this line segment. So the answer to this one is kind of tricky. It is not 1. People want to say 1. It's not 1. It does not exist. There is nothing inside of that dot there that exists, so we cannot say that there is anything at negative 6. It gets really close to there, but then there is nothing there. All right, let's look at f of 2. F of 2 is a little tricky. That's right here. It is not actually on a crosshairs. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to estimate it. So we're going to say we estimate it to be about, and we'll say it's about equal to 6.25. I'm going to say it's about 6.25. So our x value is 2, our y value is about 6.25. Now we have 2 more here, but these look different. See how our x's aren't filled in? Well, remember, our x's were in the parentheses, and then the y's were what they were equal to. So this would be like your input, and this would be your output. Our x was in the parentheses, our y was outside of it. So what this question is asking is, what would the x value be if your y value is 5? So we're going to go to where y is 5, which is right here, and our graph is here, and clearly our x value is 0. So we're going to say, well, f of 0 is 5 because the x value when y is 5 is 0. Let's try one more of these. So this is f of x equals 7, meaning your y would equal 7, which is right here. The ordered pair there is 3 comma 7. So we would say f of 3 equals 7. So they're just kind of backward or opposite of what you would do for a problem like this. So you go to your y values instead of your x values. Let's try this with a new graph. This graph is going to be called h of x. So it's our line segment h of x. And we'll do this one in a different color just to differentiate it. Our first question asks us what h of negative 1 is. So if I go back to negative 1, I see my graph is negative 1 something. Now remember, it's an open circle, so you don't want to say our y value is 11 there because we don't actually have anything inside of that circle. So we can say h of negative 1 does not exist. There is no answer inside of that open circle. H of 0, so 0 for your x is on that line, so it's right here. The point there is going to be 0, 7. So h of 0 just equals 7. Let's look at h of 1. So this is 1. We're right here. H of 1, the point is 1, 3. So h of 1 is 3. H of 2 is another one of those tricky questions. Don't say it's -1. It is not -1. It gets really, really close to +2, but it never actually hits it. And because it never actually hits it and that circle is open, it does not exist. Now let's work backward here. What is our x value if our y value is 3? So we'll say y is 3. We're right here. Our x value is 1. So we'll say h of 1 equals 3. So this is saying y is 3. What's our x value? This one is saying if y is -1, if y is -1 down here, what's our x value? Another trick question, it does not exist. So we're going to say does not exist because this function, this graph here, does not exist at the open circles. This has been evaluating value.